Dude, the clarity on that hi-hat and that intro
Yeah.
song.
I mean,
It's
honestly, because it's obviously building, so
yeah,
I wanna hear the rest of the song, but we only get to hear the first 30 seconds.
I know. StreamYard, make it happen. Make it happen. Welcome everyone to probably the last stream of the year,
That's what
here.
I said in my community post.
Oh, you did that? I didn't do that. I
It's
forgot. I'm
okay.
sorry. I've
It's too
failed
busy.
so many people. So many people.
Well, honestly, every time I do, though, I get, like, just a couple likes, so I honestly
Yeah.
wonder if the algorithm doesn't even push out my community posts all that much anyway.
Yeah. I think yeah, like so we were racking our brains last week and then Elon had a an out. He had to do if we're gonna come
Yeah.
back. I don't know. Are we gonna come back? We don't know yet. We don't know.
We just for, like, those who are joining now, these 6 people,
6 people.
and then
Welcome,
those
by the way.
who are joining in the middle, and then the maybe we should kinda keep saying this over and over throughout the stream. Like,
Yes.
we're probably gonna take a hiatus for a while. We don't
Yeah.
know when we're
Kind
coming
of
back.
rethink some things and as much as we love doing it, it's not really it takes a lot of time, like
Yeah.
just preparatory and everything and
Mhm.
um yeah, so we're just gonna see like kind of where we feel we want to go with it. If we want to um continue weekly, I mean we might end up doing something where it's like once every other week or once
Mhm.
a month or something. I mean I think we're at once a month right now anyway, so
I know, right?
it'll be a huge departure from what we're doing here.
Yeah,
Just to kind of get together and chit chat. But yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
So but yeah, this is a ask me anything or ask us anything.
But
Um
there's just so the lucky 10 people that are watching right now, there is a chance that it's kinda in its infancy, this whole idea, but there is a chance that we might come back in 2025 rebranded, with a completely new and different podcast. Um, so just be aware of
yeah,
that and be I don't know, excited for that maybe because yeah, I was talking to a buddy of mine and he's kind of interested in diversifying his creative outlets. So there is a chance that we might come back completely new with a different name and different people. Who knows?
new
Yeah.
NEW, not NUDE, just so we're clear. Um
New
it's
duh.
not gonna be an OnlyFans thing. Uh we promise, we promise. So yeah, Medieval is here. Welcome, Medieval. We got Undoppable. He asked a
No.
question we'll address here in a moment. We actually just talked about that a little bit just
Yeah.
before the live stream started. And Joel
Mhm.
Gonzalez is here. What's up, gentlemen?
Hello,
Exclamation point.
Joel.
What is up, Joel? How you doing, buddy? Um, so yeah, I want to just kind of kick things off by asking Elon, as I normally do, how the heck he's doing and what he's got going on.
um, actually, a lot of stuff. Although I was almost late to this live stream because I mean, I already told Brad, but for those lucky people watching right now, in the spirit of Christmas and the holidays happening right now, my adorable mail carrier woman was delivering a package to our driveway. And in our driveway, she noticed that she had a really flat tire. So as
Oh
I'm
no.
because she left the package where our garage doors are. So my wife and kids were leaving to go to music lessons, and I noticed she was just kinda sitting there in the driveway. I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" So I picked up the package and took it inside, thought nothing of it, and then I go back outside, she's still there, and then that's when I noticed her right front tire was completely flat, and she wasn't going anywhere. So, she had already called her husband, and, I just kind of went over there and got out the jack and jacked up the car and took off the bad flat wheel. But as soon as I did that, her husband showed up, and I was like, "Hey, pass the reins because I got something to do online.
He said vaguely
Yes.
to make
Something
it sound like it's kind of something, maybe a little dirty. We don't know. I don't know
wink,
what's going on
wink
today.
online.
Wink, wink. Onlyfans.gov. Um, that's an official government website. No, that is, yeah, that I was like, I was like sending some emails and like adding some stuff to my package tracking
Mhm.
app, which I'll kind of talk about uh, because in a moment after it's basically like a support RMA type situation with a
Oh,
something, and I want
yeah.
to kind of highlight it because it's something that like I just yeah, we've all had to maybe deal with companies, and sometimes they're
Yeah.
not great, and but thankfully this is not one of those times. So I'm kind
Oh,
of
good.
excited to share that. Anyway,
It was a pleasant experience?
it has been so far.
Great.
So, but yeah, I'll kind of dive into that a little more. But yeah, so you were doing that, and I was like, it's like 7 minutes till 7 to 7, and I was like, it's not. It's typically unlike Elon to be that late.
Right.
Normally, you end up going into like the wrong StreamYard
I know,
thing,
right?
and you're like sitting in there, like, where the hell's Brad? And I'm sitting in this one, like waiting, like, come on, like, what's going on? Oh, Jeffrey's here. Welcome,
Close.
Jeffrey. Welcome.
Howdy,
Um,
folks.
but I also
Howdy,
like want to
folks.
talk about. So you were doing that.
Yeah.
But you texted me the other day. I think you put out on a community post that you rented an office.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother-in-law is selling or renting. He still doesn't know yet. He's gonna be meeting with his real estate agent when he comes tomorrow, just like a pre-Christmas howdy visit, and he's gonna kinda just take stock of the land and see if he should sell it or see if he should just rent it out a little bit. Um, but yeah, because of that, he's trying to do that January of 2025. So I was like, oh God, I gotta find a place. My theater's on his property. So yes, finally found a place. Super cool, man. You may have seen it. If you haven't, go to my community page. Check it out. It's 2 rooms because I almost got an office that fell through, that was only 1 room, and I was going to be hurting for space. But this one is 2 rooms, one of which is rectangular and is just perfect for a theater. And then the other room, is going to be great for all my storage of all my boxes and crap that I've accumulated over the years that I'm currently storing in the office on my brother-in-law's property. So perfect because I was wondering if maybe I'll have to get an office and rent like a just a storage unit to keep all of my boxes and crap. But no, all in one. I can do all of those things with my current office space that I found. So I'm slowly moving all those boxes, carload by carload, over to that new space. Um, and right before all of this, Aperion Audio sent me a bunch more Theatris speakers. So, people, once I get this office up and running, I will be completely surrounded, including 9 ear level speakers of Theatris
Ooh,
only speakers and
I'm
6
curious.
Theatris height channels, but I also have some other spare Aperion Audio A5 height modules
Mhm.
for the center height and the voice of God because I'm going all out. I still haven't got like an official shipping confirmation, but my Massimo rep has told me that he is on it and he is sending me a Marantz AV10 finally. So hopefully that arrives in the next week or two. Um, because yeah, I'm literally going to max that thing out by connecting 17 speakers to it. So I can do more testing with Atmos and RO3D and not have to disconnect anything and switch anything.
Yeah.
It's all there. All I have to do is it just automatically says, "Oh, this is an RO3D mix.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 13.1 RO3D." So, man, I am really excited for 2025. So, be on the lookout, folks. So I'm
Uh,
coming in hot.
right. Exactly. A couple questions here for you. What's the ceiling height in your office compared to the old place? Jeffrey wants to know.
Same.
Same.
9 feet. 9 feet
Oh, wow.
currently, and
Okay.
9 feet in the new office. Which man, I lucked out there too. But yeah, it's carpeted, so I don't have to worry because there were a few offices also that I was looking at and almost put sign the lease agreement on that were hardwood floor or laminate floor. So I would have to have some sort of rug. But no, these are already carpeted, so that's perfect. So
That
man,
is
it really was just like a diamond in the rough that I found. Like, holy crap. And the landlord knows that she's not charging that much for this office space. I'm like, okay, works for me. But
uh
yeah.
so funny. And then I bet I know the answer to this. Undoppable says, how many channels does the AV10 actually power? Zero.
Correct.
It's
The
a it's a
AV10,
preamp. It's not
yes, the
a
AV10 is
processor.
a
Yeah.
preamp processor, so it does not power any speakers whatsoever. But I do have 2 Aperion Energy E7 amps, so that's 14 channels altogether with those.
And those are
And
killer.
then
Those are awesome.
I do have an E2 2-channel
Hmm.
power amp from Aperion also, but to get to 17, I need a 3-channel. So I'm gonna see if I can swap that out for a 3-channel one instead.
I'm sure Colin will hook you up.
Yeah. But if that doesn't pan out, like maybe they're low on stock or something, I do also have an Emotiva XPA 3-channel amp, one of their high current, high power amps. Because I totally forgot I had that. But as I
Yeah.
was moving stuff out of the office and taking it to the new one, I just saw it in the corner. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I got it right there." So, I'm good. I'm covered. Because that's the other thing is having the AV10, I'm definitely going back because 'cause I've had the Marantz SR7015 hooked up for a while, and then I had the Sony AZ7000 ES hooked up for a few days before I got this new office. So, I'll be doing some stuff with the Sony 7000 ES right off the bat when this new office is up and running, but then it'll pretty much, hopefully, be the Marantz AV10 from here on out for the foreseeable future.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Uh,
What about you, man? What do you got going on?
well, lots of stuff. One of which has to do with this question here. Where are the new mini DSP videos? Smiley face. They are
Poke,
coming,
poke,
man. They're
poke.
I feel like every time I try to go do something, uh it's something comes like something gets in the way of
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So I for those that don't know, my sister-in-law and her husband, basically my in-laws, lost their house to Hurricane Milton. Um,
Dang.
yeah, and so they like it's a brick house, so like the actual like outside is fine.
Mhm.
And like the structure itself, foundation, everything's good, but the interior, they've had to gut the whole thing.
Because it
So
got flooded, I assume.
yeah, I got flooded by 3-4 feet of water.
Oh my
Yeah, it's terrible. So, yeah, I've been like talking to them a lot. I'm actually going over tomorrow. I have like 450 spare feet of Cat 6 cable, and so while they have
wow.
the walls like all like drywall all ripped out and everything, and it's just basically down to studs and stuff.
Mhm.
This guy right here. Um, I'm gonna go over and run Cat 6 for them.
Nice.
And then when they get the drywall put up, I'll go back over and and terminate the ends. So they were running on Wi-Fi before,
Mhm.
and it just wasn't. It was super spotty. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
They're the
uh,
ones that live on the West Coast
no, no,
of
no. They're in
Florida?
well, yeah, yeah. They're kind of like on in the kind of Plant City area, like kind of where Youth Man lives. But they
Oh,
live
okay.
in a specific section where they've had some issues with flooding in the past. So yeah,
Ooh.
that really sucks. But yeah, so I'm going to do that, and then it's just something like I have the cable. I want to help them out in any way that I can, and so I've been kind of talking to them about that, kind of planning for that, getting things that I need. Uh, been working on videos. I still have like 6, 7 videos that just need editing, and it's just like finding the time to do it, especially with the holidays, like all the holiday stuff going on. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking to like what I was talking about earlier with like the RMA process. So basically, I went to like play a game one morning, just like for 30 minutes or whatever before I after I like worked out in the morning.
Mhm.
And yeah, my Corsair liquid cooler, like the pump died in it. And so
Oh,
my
no.
which sucks.
You haven't had
If
that
you
for very long, right?
about 6 months.
Yeah,
So
not too long.
yeah, and the one I had before it that actually gave to my sister-in-law when I built her computer, that's still like kicking, and it's like 4.5 years old. So it's just, sometimes you deal with like issues with technology, right?
Mhm.
So it's the great thing is with Corsair, they have like basically a fantastic like warranty service. It's like you're covered for 5 years, no questions asked, pretty much. So I reached
Oh,
out,
wow.
or not reached out. I submitted a ticket. They don't know I have a channel or anything like that. So there's no like preferential treatment. I'm always like wary of companies that maybe are familiar, especially in the home theater side of stuff. They might have heard of me at some point.
Mhm.
Not that that sounded like conceited. No, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna get special treatment versus like someone who's like,
Mm.
you know, I mean, yeah, I may have paid for something, but it's like, okay, like I just because I have a channel doesn't mean that I should get like preferential treatment over it,
Right, right.
over anyone else. So
Don't you
anyway,
know who I am?
yeah, you know who my father is. Um, but no, it's been honestly one of the best RMA experiences I've ever had. I haven't, I think there was like a miscommunication at first, which was honestly on me. I maybe didn't describe the problem the way I should have.
Mhm.
And so they initially shipped me like, if anybody isn't familiar with like how Corsair works with their liquid coolers for computers, basically it's kind of like in a car where you have like fans and a radiator, and then like there's a pump that's typically on the CPU that cools it and
Oh,
that
yeah.
cycles the water through the closed system. And they have like it's all like a proprietary connection that has like a controller that you also plug their fans into. Anyway, they're like, well, they sent me, they're like, we're sending out the controller. I'm like, wait, I think there was like a misunderstanding because they
Yeah.
were just going to send me a new controller, like a hub or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure the pump is dead because I've done all the troubleshooting on your website, and my CPU temps are instantly like when I turn the computer on like 95C. It
Oh,
like
wow.
it will like shut off because of like the fail safes in place. And they're like, oh,
Right.
I'm so sorry. Like, let me go ahead and get this. Like, I'll ship you a brand new one.
Hmm.
And normally they have two different kind of RMAs. They have like a standard RMA and then like an advanced RMA. And with the advanced RMA, you pay for a new one, right? And then they ship that to you with a prepaid box to send your old one back, and then they like credit you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. So I just did the standard, but then they upgraded me to a no charge advanced RMA. So I didn't have to pay for it. But then they're
Dang.
like, we already sent the controller out. So just keep that as a backup. Don't even send it back. So they're like, they
Wow.
just gave me a $50 like thing, like to, and I'm like, okay. So the funny thing is I'm like, the other time I've dealt with something like this is when I had an LG Plasma years ago, and a
Mhm.
whole line of pixels, like vertical line, just went out.
Right.
And I didn't have that TV for 3 months. Like I had a non-working unit for 3 months. They just
Mhm.
never like getting into contact with someone was a pain in the ass.
Mhm.
Dealing with the very and when I would get into contact with someone, it was always these people were just very, very rude. Like they were very short with me. And it's like, look, I get it, but at the same time, it's like I don't like I paid, at the time I think it was like $1,300 for this TV.
Mhm.
And at the time that was a lot of money, still
Yeah.
is. And I'm like, I can't even use it. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you know? So the way Corsair has kind of handled everything, you can say what you want about their their stuff, but their support is like, in my opinion, second to none, and that's why I would continue to buy them. Um, Granted, I actually bought a different liquid cooler while I was waiting because I found one on a Black Friday deal for like $70. It's the Arctic Freezer 3. And so I've been using that. I'll probably
Oh,
just keep
yeah.
that in there and then just kind of keep the RMA one as like a backup in case I have problems with the other one, which I don't think I will. But anyway, so I've been kind of like dealing with that, and then yeah, I've been working on the tutorials. I'm Joel, to kind of go back to answer your question even like more in depth because I went off on a tangent. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I want to release two separate versions of it, like one whole video with chapters, and then kind of split it off into like maybe 10 to 15-minute sections and release separate videos. And I really want to maybe try to release those all around the same week.
Yeah.
With like this, like all of the videos, like the separate sections, I would like to release all at once because the last thing I want, the only regret I have about my previous series is releasing them week to week. So it's like, how are you going to follow this section, right? Get everything set up and be like, tune in next week to finish your calibration. It's like you
Right.
can't use your system for it, so I don't want anybody to deal with that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm gonna release it kind of all at once and
Right.
go from there. And I'm excited. And then also the that's kind of like the main one that I want to do because I feel like once I kind of like break the seal on that and get back into the tutorial gear, shooting
Mhm.
tutorials, I could start shooting more like and because it's just difficult to
Yeah.
like sit, but thankfully like with the way the theater room is set up now, it's much easier to film in there, which is why we were able
Yeah.
to do the live stream that we were doing
Yeah, exactly.
before. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with me. um Again, I have all this Aperion content that I need to get out too because like I've had the stand. I just finished most of the edit on the stands. That's like the next video coming out, and then I want to do the mini DSP stuff then
Right.
after that, and then kind of because I didn't want to be like, here's an unboxing, it's like six unboxing videos in a row or something,
You're right.
um so yeah, that's where I'm at. And holidays, there's just so much, there's like so much stuff that we're doing, and we're getting a Christmas tree this year, which we didn't last year. I'm scared about that. I know it's like late in the game, but we're getting one. I don't care. My wife and I talked about it. Well, we have two cats, so we're kind of not sure how that's going to work. We're going to see. So Saturday we're going and going to try to find a Christmas a real tree. We're just going to go to the side of the
Yeah.
road and grab one. But
Cut it down.
they cut it down. But yeah. Also, Joel mentioned real quick. Speaking of Oro 3D, just read they were bought out by a new owner again, and I just looked this up.
What?
So we actually had, was it the CTO
Yeah.
on one of these talking, like this was a few months ago,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
now I don't even know how to pronounce this. Goerdina Group, an audio solutions company that operates brands such as Dyne Audio, Libratone, and XEO, has acquired new Oro BV, the company that owns the rights to Oro 3D immersive audio and other technologies like Oro
Yeah.
CX. So this is different than the company that owned them before.
Right.
So they've changed hands yet again.
Oh
Um,
my goodness. Well, Dyne Audio, those are
yeah, they're I've heard their
beefy
stuff. They're pretty
speakers,
big.
man.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see kind of what happens, with that. And LG just announced that they're canceling all like or discontinuing all of their Blu-ray like physical media players, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate. Um,
but yeah, Sony and Panasonic have owned that market for forever, as far as I know.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, LG's been a pretty small market share in that arena when it comes to physical media.
yeah. But
But,
yeah, I mean, I still have my LG Blu-ray player. I haven't upgraded it,
yeah.
but we haven't used it. I honestly we watched. My wife had never seen that movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, and I had
Yep.
never seen it on 4K Blu-ray, and I've owned it since I got a 4K Blu-ray player. So we finally sat down and watched it, and
Yeah,
it. I mean, it had some cool Atmos like moments, I guess,
yeah.
and the video quality is great. Um, I thought I liked the movie better when the first time I saw it. I don't know. It's like one of those movies you watch it more than once and you start to see all the glaring issues with it.
Right.
It's like I remember when I saw Prometheus in IMAX 3D, I was like, this is maybe it was just IMAX, I don't remember. But it was just like, wow, this is like the spectacle of it, the cinematography and everything was awesome. And then when I watched it again when it came out, when it was released on home video, and I was like, oh God, like this what like the spectacle isn't as massive. This was years ago, by the way, when I didn't have
Yeah.
a larger TV and Atmos and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh, all the plot holes and the acting. Like Charlize Theron in that movie was just awful. I mean, there was just a lot of awful things about the movie. But yeah, it was really hard to sit through that again. And each time I've watched it, I think I've watched it about 3 times now. It
Mhm.
just gets worse every time to the point where now where I'm like, I don't want to watch it again. Although
Yeah.
we did watch Alien Romulus last week, and
Oh, yeah.
that yeah, that had some that was actually it's kind of like what Prey for me did to the Predator franchise, kind of like
Yeah.
rejuvenated it. That's how I feel Alien Romulus did for the Alien franchise.
Right.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Alien Romulus, highly recommend it, especially if you
I
like the older
have.
movies.
'Cause it's streaming now, so
Yeah. And I think it's you can get it on physical media. You can also buy a VHS copy. They're a limited edition, but you
Oh,
can.
yes, I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that.
I would highly recommend not doing that. But yeah, let's here go down the thing. But yeah, anyway, that's what's going on with me. Um, answer some questions because people have asked questions. If you do have a question, makes it super easy for us to see it if you just put a Q in front of it. You don't have to. We'll try to you know, go over this stuff, you
Yeah.
know, quickly. Also, if you want to support the channel, you don't have to. You don't have to do super chats or super stickers, but they are enabled, I believe, on either one of our channels. So,
Yeah, I don't think I ever did that.
well, they're enabled
I'll
on mine.
do it right
So,
now.
but yeah, that's just the way you can, just say, hey, we enjoy what you do. You don't have to. If you don't want to, it's not gonna make a difference to get your question answered, but it will get highlighted and it will have like a nice little color to it because that's just what YouTube does.
We will judge you,
We,
though.
we will judge you. Oh, Jeffrey asked this, Brad, how best to contact you? We'll be in Florida, in the Lake Mary area until mid-January, so would be open to seeing your theater if you're up for it. Yeah, words are hard. Send me an email. That's the easiest way to get in contact with me. I don't really do like Facebook Messenger or anything. You could find it at on my about page, or it's just Brad at hometheatergamer.com. You can send me an email that way, and we'll try to
Mhm.
set something up. I am traveling basically after Christmas. Oh yeah, I could talk about that. I'm doing a home theater tour in Texas with Michael as his camera operator.
Whoa!
So I don't know much about it other than he already paid me for it, so I'm doing it. Um, but it's a short tour. It's like we're flying in January 22nd, we're flying out January 23rd. So very very quick. You know, so like I'll be flying out at like noon on the 22nd, and then flying in at like 7 p.m. the next day. So
Wow.
short and sweet little trip there, which is
Yeah.
always fun.
I mean, I
Um,
imagine it's short and sweet just because it's so close to Christmas.
that too, and um, I like those kind of short and sweet trips. There's always like the possibility of flight issues or whatever,
Yeah.
but hopefully, cross my fingers. I know the last tour we did, the when we went to do the Tully's home theater, and the father-in-law to the Star Wars theater guy,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
um, Charlie. That was like one of the worst travel experiences I've ever had. I was
Yeah.
like, I kind of questioned my life at that point. No, I kind of questioned uh like doing any further work with Michael because I was like, I don't know, man. Every time we do this, it's like something happens. But like the first time we went to Cedia, like there was a major hurricane that came through, and
All right.
oh man, I will never do that again. I would never, like, if there's a major hurricane on the horizon, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to Cedia.
Yeah.
I'm not, unless my wife and I can go, and we know our cats are safe. Yeah. Um, Got to take care of the cats, man. Don't laugh at
Yeah.
that. No. But yeah, Jeffrey, yeah, Brad at hometheatergamer.com. If you're still here, I know you said you maybe had to step away. I'm not keeping up with the comments either. So I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
Brad
Um,
is keeping up with the Kardashians, though, just so you
I
know.
I'm not doing that either. I don't know
What?
the difference between any of them. I don't understand why they're popular, but
Mhm.
um then again, yeah, I don't understand why many things are popular, like Taylor Swift. So anyway, moving on. I'm not a Swiftie. Okay. Uh, Joel asks, "Is there a best practice for syncing tactile transducers to subwoofers, or do I just add delay until it feels somewhat in sync?" There is a video, I believe, that Steven Smith, aka Home Theater Gurus, put out a while ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick, where he actually talks about the syncing of transducers to, like, with your home theater.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Let me see. Hopefully, he actually released a video, because I remember he got like the Krausens or the Crosens. I can never get that name right,
Mhm.
and he paid for them himself. Let me see.
I know, speaking of transducers or base shakers, I saw Moana 2 with
Mm,
and the we were in the D box seats.
yeah. Oh, so you got like a little massage while you're watching.
Yeah. First time I'd ever experienced D-Box actually, because normally we don't care. We're like, "Eh." But,
It has motion too, right? Like you're
yeah,
okay.
a little
Okay.
bit of motion. A little bit of motion and the bass shakers right
And
in
you
the seat.
did it have like an intensity adjustment on it that you
It
could
did.
say, oh, okay.
Yeah. There were 3 levels of intensities.
Mm,
So off, 1, 2, 3, and I had it on 1 because 'cause I'm like,
it's a little gimmicky. Yeah.
yeah, I don't really need this anyway, but I wanna see how it is. So I
Yeah.
just kept it at 1 the whole time. And yeah, it's like it didn't really add anything for me personally.
Yeah.
It was like it was whatever. I don't plan on, like, seeing everything in D-Box now. It was especially because of the movement. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, the movement didn't do anything for me because it's not a ride. It makes sense if you're at a theme park and you're at or,
Yeah.
Disneyland and the seat is moving along with the action on screen. But, like, for Moana 2, it's just like, uh, oh, they're singing a song, I'm like, "What is this?" So, yeah, it's pretty gimmicky for sure.
Yeah, I've seen a few movies in D-Box over the years. The last movie I saw was, um, I think it was one of the no, I did see Dark of the Moon, the third Transformers movie,
Mm,
in D-Box with my dad, and he was just like, "I got a massage the whole time." Um, I did see, I think it was The Hobbit. the desolation of Smaug,
Mm,
and that was probably, like you said, the movement most of the times is distracting.
yeah.
But what I found is the like kind of the sweeping, drone slash helicopter shots.
Mhm.
The what they did with the D box there was they kind of made it feel like you were flying, and I really
Oh,
enjoyed that. So they would move it kind of forward or backwards just a little bit,
yeah,
but it kind of gave you that sensation of you're actually in motion, which I really liked. But
right,
then it was like, okay, we're now back on the ground where we're just okay.
right. See, that
And
makes sense because
yeah,
you're flying.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I feel like maybe for a musical like Moana 2, because we just shockingly watched Moana 1 for the first time like last week, the day
Oh,
after
nice.
we watched Alien Romulus. Actually,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't care for it, to be honest with you, but I'm not into musicals, so it was just like, oh my god, they're singing again, and I don't want to listen to Dwayne Johnson sing anymore. If I could just not, I'm curious though, because I didn't detect a ton of auto tune in the first Moana,
Mhm.
considering it came out. I don't know, when
It
did it
was
come
like
out?
2016.
Yeah. So I feel like it was kind of before Disney started just slathering auto tune all over everything, especially with their live action remakes. Like Emma Watson's voice in the Beauty and
Oh,
the Beast
yeah, Beauty
live
and the Beast.
action it was just like auto tune city. And I don't
Mhm.
know if it's maybe that she couldn't sing or I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean some of the songs were catchy, but I just was like, oh my gosh. I'm more of like a Pixar movies and, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and, like, we don't have kids, so it kind of, even my wife was like, "It was a bit much with the song numbers in there."
Mhm.
Um, I feel like a better kind of, balance was Coco, with the way
Yeah,
they kinda
yeah.
mixed in the musical numbers, with that, but that's a Pixar movie and not a
Well,
Disney
that's
Animation Studios.
but also because music is part of the story,
Right, right,
so that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I again, it's just me, like,
Have
okay,
you
yeah.
ever seen Lyle Lyle Crocodile?
No.
It is another musical, but, Javier Bardem is in it.
Oh,
But man, so much auto-tune with him whenever he sang. 'Cause, I can't remember the name of the pop star who did the voice for Lyle the crocodile, and he's really good. Sean something? Sean
I'll
some
look it up.
but yeah, he's fantastic because he can actually sing. But Javier Bardem, sorry, buddy, 'cause it does this thing. I don't know if it hits my ears the same to everyone else listening, but whenever there's, like, heavy, heavy auto-tune on someone,
Mhm.
especially, like, especially with Javier Bardem in
Shawn
Lyle
Mendes?
Lyle Crocodile.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shawn Mendes? Something like
Mendes, I don't know. We'll say.
that. If you watch Lyle Lyle Crocodile, every time Javier Bardem sings, it sounds like he is singing through wax paper.
Oh,
Like they covered his microphone in wax paper and he is singing through it. That's how the processing of the auto-tune hits my ears. It sounds like wax paper.
yeah,
That's the best I can describe it. And it just sounds horrible.
yeah.
So, I just don't like it. Just if you're gonna do a musical, get people who can actually sing. You know, like Wicked just came out and it's Ariana Grande and she can sing. She's really good at
What?
singing. So, and, whoever I can't remember the name of the person who plays Elphaba, but she can sing too. Yeah, it's like they
Yeah,
got people
yeah,
who can actually sing.
yeah, and that's the way to do it if you're gonna do it, you
Yeah.
know?
Or like the '90s Disney days, you have somebody do the voice and then have some singer do the actual singing. You
I
know,
don't
like Jonathan Taylor Thomas in Lion King, he can't actually sing. So they had the kid who played Michael Jackson in like a
The
Jackson
VH1, yeah, the
biopic or
Jackson and
whatever.
American Dream. Yep. And he also
Yeah,
played the brother on Smart Guy, Disney's Smart Guy, that show. He's a
yeah.
smart guy. Anyway, um, I watched that show when I was a kid. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't
But I mean,
care.
it's like there's no
Yeah.
shame in that. Like just having
Yeah.
somebody else do the singing part. What's so bad about that?
The trick is to get people that sound or that you would believe that that is a person singing, right?
Right.
I think back and people in the chat may remember this. Um, I was born in the early '80s, so I wasn't around when this movie came out. But there's a little movie that came out, I think it's '76 or '78, called Bugsy Malone.
Mm.
It's about basically a bunch of child gangsters. It had like Scott Baio, a young Jodie Foster, and it was a musical. And I grew up watching it with my sister a lot. And Paul Williams did all of the singing pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, and so every kid, it all sounded like Paul Williams. And the thing is, Paul Williams is an adult. Um, and so like it just kind of I associate that his voice with that movie. So like he had a cameo on Baby Driver as
Oh yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, oh, that's Paul Williams, and immediately I'm like, oh, Bugsy Malone. It's so funny. I'm like, I don't like musicals, but I can watch musicals from my childhood. Like if I
Yeah.
grew up watching it, like Willy Wonka, I
Mhm.
like I'm gonna watch it. Bugsy Malone, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Um, was Wizard of Oz, another one, but it's just yeah, when it doesn't match, when you're like, that's obviously not, um, you know.
Yeah.
I remember I can't remember who it was. It was just after that movie Rockstar came out with Mark Wahlberg
Oh yeah.
in the early 2000s, and
Mhm.
basically he's like it's like a 70s or 80s band. I think it's an 80s band, and
Yeah.
he like I remember somebody was like, "Oh yeah, he did all of his own singing," and I was like, "No, he did not. He did not. That is not his voice. He cannot sing like that. I'm sorry." But yeah, this is just so funny. So funny. Moving on. Jay Maxey says, I'm still using a dated 6.1 system, wondering how big a jump Atmos is in immersion. I
Oh
mean, I
man.
think it's a
I did notice a lot of people in the chat responded to J
oh,
Maxon.
so we can just not talk to him. Okay,
Uh,
cool. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a massive step up, but it's highly dependent on the source.
yeah.
Like so, if you're and I think I kind of looked over some of the comments at some point,
Yeah.
but like yeah, you can upmix everything, and that will get you a pretty active experience. I always find DTS Neural X kind of be a little more active or discrete esque in the height channels versus Dolby Surround upmixer.
Yeah.
Whereas like because Dolby Surround is more about like ambience, I feel like, and then DTS is more
Yeah.
about like how can we put an object there that would make sense.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like the actual Atmos tracks, like some Atmos mixes are just incredibly active, maybe overly active, like Twister. Um, but other ones are like more subdued. There's not really a whole lot going on. You shouldn't. I'm a big proponent of like you shouldn't hear the speakers all the time because then that's just going to be a distraction.
Yeah.
It should really envelop you in a way that like it's just it comes across very natural, and I think that that's kind of opposite of maybe what people expect or want sometimes from it. They
Right.
kind of we go back to the D-Box thing. I do feel like there are some folks who just want a theme park experience with every movie they watch, be it
There's
like tactile bass with every little explosion or
Mhm.
gunshot or something. And it's like, okay, does it make sense in the context of the film? Then yes, okay, do it. If it doesn't, okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Mhm.
I've read so many things about like uh certain movies where it's like, okay, it doesn't like that doesn't really it's not really what the movie's about, And then other
Right.
times you get surprised because you're like, whoa, that was unexpected. That was awesome.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm get off my soapbox now. But what
I
do you
mean,
think
it's
with the
it's
immersion jump?
right. I mean, kind of the consensus with a lot of the people that were responding to him is that, yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
When it's done right, it sounds amazing, but when it's done wrong, it sounds like garbage. And yeah, I mean, I've uh, since I have my bed layer speakers on one amp and my height channels on another amp, I can just turn off the ear level speakers and hear just what's coming out of the height channels. And a lot of times, if it's a 5.1 or a 7.1 mix and it's being up mixed to the high channels, a lot of times what you're getting out of the high channels is just kind of just repeating what is happening in the bed or in
Yeah.
the ear level speakers being sent to the height channels, but it sounds like garbled. Like
Yep.
it just
Yep.
sounds
And
like it just doesn't. It's like, no, man. If you're gonna up mix it, just, kind of like you were saying, like DTSX or DTS Neural X will try and determine, you know what, we can maybe take this object and put it up there
yeah.
because of what's happening on screen. So I like that better than just trying to amplify or double what's going on and making it sound higher.
Yeah.
Like that's not really what immersion is supposed to be.
Right. Right. And an undoppable um does like basically echo what you just said.
Yeah.
And I found the same thing to be true when I switched to having a 7 channel amp, the Energy 7 amp from Hyperion.
Mhm.
Being able to turn off the bed layer, just hear the isolated height channels. I would also like go on my mini DSP and just mute the subs so I could just really hear what's going on up there instead of,
Yeah.
I'm not masking anything. What I found, especially for like 5.1 or 7.1 concerts, I don't
Mhm.
upmix those ever. They
Yeah.
just the way they place the guitars, like I always use Metallica through the Never. I have a couple of like kind of demo tracks from that,
Yeah.
and it places it like it really makes the guitars prominent to the point where they sound like they're kind of coming up from like up above you almost.
Mhm.
And it just what I was like, this doesn't sound right. And so I switched over to Dolby Surround just to see. And yeah, it wasn't as pronounced, but it was still like it's just like you said, it's kind of like garbled. Like it doesn't sound right. So
Yeah.
for concerts, I'm pretty much okay, 5.1 or so, whatever the actual mix is. That's how I
Yeah.
play it back. I don't do any up mixing. And then sometimes for a movie, I mean, honestly, if it's an older Blu-ray or something, especially if it's like a comedy, I don't really find it makes a big difference if I'm up mixing or not.
Yeah.
Um, but for like an action movie or like a Christopher Nolan movie, there's one exception to that, which is Interstellar when they jump through the black hole. The up mixing on that is very effective. It works very
Mhm.
well using DTS Neural X. Um, I will say this: the problem I have with Pure Direct is it negates all EQ. So like all Odyssey or like I've spent a lot of time tweaking like multi QX and setting up curves and everything. So
Mhm.
Pure Direct is the way to go for music, especially.
Especially
But
2 channel.
for 2 channel, yeah, 100% for
Yeah.
2 channel.
Yeah.
My personal preference is because I want the EQ'd experience that I've painstakingly
Right.
set up that people got an idea of when we
Yeah.
did the live stream. Then yeah, like I don't do pure direct mode pretty much ever for games. I
Yeah.
mean, games are pretty much like probably 75% of my media consumption these
Yeah.
days.
I mean, I
Um,
get it if you're doing pure direct because you're listening to a record,
yep.
like a vinyl record, then yeah, pure direct all day, every day. But yeah, for anything else,
Yeah. Yeah.
or perhaps
Um,
CDs, pretty much anything 2 channel. If we're
yeah.
going
Yeah.
beyond 2 channels, eh, it's
You also disable bass management most of the time when you do that. So
mm,
your crossovers are no longer valid.
yeah,
Um, which can pose issues in certain rooms and certain cases.
Right.
Let's see here. Moving on. Jeffrey asks, have you guys watched the Annihilation 4K Blu-ray? I think he's talking about the Natalie Portman movie from a few years ago.
Yeah.
We watched it this past week and heard some crackling from my surround left and front left. And he has prime bookshelves for surrounds and prime pinnacles for front left speaker during the final climax scene. I have not seen
Crackling. Hmm.
Yeah, I've not seen, that movie in quite a while. I don't think I ever finished it. So I don't know if I
Yeah.
got to the final climax of that, movie because I kinda lost interest. I'm not the biggest Natalie Portman fan, but, I liked, yeah, I you know what? I think I've only watched the Blu-ray, so I never even watched, the 4K. Oh, he had a follow-up to that too, sorry. Surrounds powered by the X3800. H front soundstage by Buckeye something, but plenty of power. Was
Mhm.
listening at I think -12, the Harman +10 curve. It Jeffrey, what I've noticed is sometimes, especially I don't know if you're running Odyssey or Dirac. What I've noticed is if you rely on their automated system, it can, and I've talked about this before, it can overboost things. Like I think it boosts up to like 9 to 10 dB depending on what it's trying to boost.
Yeah.
So it may be something where in that specific selection it was boosting like way higher than it should, right? So if
Mm.
it, especially if you're doing an automated thing, if you're not, I would also if you can rewatch that scene at a lower volume and see if you still get the crackling. Because
Yeah,
if you're at
true.
like let's say -30 and the crackling's still there, well now you know it's in the source and not your speakers.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. And it also just could be in that specific scene for whatever reason at that time, you had like a little power fluctuation in your system, which
Right.
caused those two channels in particular to get kind of wonky. There's like a million different things, right? That could.
At least.
I mean, have you ever? I mean, I've experienced that before on my system.
Mhm.
Even when like the Aperion speakers, there's a on the Arvolution. Basically, when you go to a movie, it'll play like music from the movie,
Mhm.
and I have the movie The Majestic on there, and it's like a little piano diddle thing going. And I had it like I was watching something, and it was like I think it was like a Disney Blu-ray that was just mixed really low, so I had it like -5,
Mm.
which brought I think it was Moana actually. We were listening at like -7.5 or -5 or whatever. Really
Dang.
had to crank it, and then I went back and I noticed some crackling coming from the center a little bit,
Mm.
and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I turned it down, and the crackling was still there, so it was in the recording. Um,
Huh.
and I was like, it freaked me out because I'm like, "Whoa, these are this shouldn't be doing this because I definitely
Yeah.
have more than enough power."
Right.
Um, but yeah, the crackling was in the recording, so that would be my kind of go to. Is it in the recording? Okay, if it's not that, what else could be causing it? Is it repeatable? Can you do it over and over?
Right.
I mean, don't do it to the point where you're like, I'm gonna break my speakers because Brad told me to do it. I'm not contractually obligated to anything. Um, but yeah, that would be my kind of go to, I guess. My troubleshooting recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Let's see.
Jeffra.
Let's see here. Here we go. Next question.
Do, 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 do.
So, Undoppable asks, curious what chat and our hosts are using as a source for movies. Dedicated player, streaming, TV, projector? Question marks abound. What are you using to consume your? Would you say the majority of your content, or do you just have like kind of a multitude of devices?
Uh, well, most of the time we just do everything through our Samsung Frame TV that's in
Hmm.
the living room. That is the source. Although uh, we also have an Apple TV 4K hooked up to the Sony. AVR that is connected to my living room system. So every once in a while, we'll be like, I don't know, like playing a game on Apple Arcade, and then just because we're lazy and we're already on Apple TV, we'll watch something through Apple TV.
Yeah.
But typically, we just do everything through the Samsung Frame menu. But every once in a while, we'll watch something on 4K Blu-ray because I've got a Xbox One S also hooked up in this living room setup. Like the other day, we were going through, or around Thanksgiving, we were going through the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Oh.
and we started it because I have the trilogy on 4K Blu-ray, but I also have it on digital on my Fandango at home account, which is no longer Voodoo. Um, but we started the Fellowship of the Ring on Voodoo because it's more convenient and it was just already there. But then we kept having issues where it would kind of time out and buffer. So we're like, screw this. So I went and got the discs and then we finished the entire trilogy on discs because then we didn't have any buffering issues because it's physical media. So that happens every once in a while. In the theater, though, that's a whole different ball game. I do have another Apple TV 4K to do any streaming tests that I need to do in the theater.
Mhm.
But other than that, um, yeah, I'll use my Magnetar U Magnetar UDP 800 4K Blu-ray player. And that's about it. Yeah, because it's either Apple TV 4K or Blu-rays that I watch in the theater because I want the best video and audio quality.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of right where I'm at. I'm a little different, uh, I guess. Oh, we're all different in our own way. Most of the like I said earlier, most of the content I consume is video games, and for that I'm like 99% PC. Um,
Mhm.
for some things like we during the Black Friday week, Peacock was running a deal where you can get a year for $20.
Oh, right.
So we did that, and that's how we're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I'm using typically I when I kind of revamped the theater, I I wanted to kind of declutter. I felt like I just had too many kind of redundant components
Mhm.
where it was like, oh, okay, I have an Apple TV, but like why would I wasn't really using it.
Yeah.
I no longer use the NVIDIA Shield once I got the Revolution.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, the NVIDIA Shield's definitely going. Like I'm getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Um, and then the Apple TV, the 4K TV, I started kind of just doing some quick comparisons of like the app on the LG C1 OLED that I have versus
Mhm.
the actual device, and I could tell no difference if I was streaming, let's say, an episode of Severance, which is kind of the only reason I would use the Apple TV was for streaming Apple TV shows, like
Yeah.
Apple TV
Yeah.
Plus shows, I should say.
Right.
So I ended up taking out both the NVIDIA Shield and the Apple TV, and for things that are on Apple TV or Disney Plus, we don't actually have, other than Peacock and Apple TV Plus, those are the only two subscriptions we have. We don't currently have Netflix, and we don't
Oh,
have Disney Plus. We have Prime, but like we don't really use it that much.
yeah.
But for physical media, which is, I want to say it's not, it's typically how I will consume the media, but I will rip it and then watch it on the Revolution because I don't know
Ah,
when I'm gonna watch it. So normally, like
right.
I just got the Demolition Man. I purchased the Demolition Man 4K Arrow.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I love Demolition Man. I know it's a
Yeah.
guilty pleasure of mine, but man, it
Murder,
looks
death, kill.
right? Dude, they went back and they remastered it from the original 35 millimeter camera negative, and
No
dude, it looks
way.
so good. It looks so,
Wow.
it kind of like when people are like, I think True Lies looks fine. I'm like, watch Demolition Man. Like I know it's completely
Mhm.
like True Lies looks like a digitized video nightmare, whereas like Demolition Man actually looks like it was shot on film because it was. Um,
Yeah.
but I've ripped it on as like a like a remux or a lost. I can't. Somebody mentioned that remux is the wrong term, but I'm going to go with it. Basically, it's a one-to-one, bit for bit identical copy of the movie
Yep.
from the disc that I've ripped myself on my
Right.
computer, transferred over to the hard drive. Um, and that's how I watch it because I watch it just through that for convenience. I'm
Yeah.
hoping at some point, because I have like this rotating library where I have most of my 4K media blacked up. Um, but I don't have all of my Blu-rays because there's just so many. I'm hoping at some point
Yeah.
maybe the fine folks at Arvolution will be kind enough to send me a NAS with some drives, and I could set that up, and just
Right.
have everything on and keep everything on that because it's kind of a pain to rotate movies out and transfer them over to the internal drive on the Arvolution.
Right.
But it's so cool that it has that if you have a smaller collection that you don't
Yeah,
really need
exactly.
a
How
NAS.
many how big is the internal drive?
I have 8 terabyte drive, but it supports up to a 32 terabyte drive. So
Dang.
even 32 terabytes, I'm not sure if I ripped everything, as a remux, which would take me probably a year. It'd probably take
Yeah.
me a while. Um, I don't know if I don't think it would all fit on 32. I
Right.
don't know. I mean, I haven't done like the math.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't I want to add any additional compression or anything. I just want like whatever's on the disk to be in that file.
Yeah.
And I've not had any issues with that. It's been
With the
flawless.
Arvolution?
Yeah, I mean, I've had occasional like kind of one off where it's like for some reason it won't like a certain movie for whatever reason, and I'll just I'll retransfer the file over. I don't know if it gets like lost because they transfer them over the network, so I
Mhm.
don't know if there's like something that goes on.
Oh,
But
yeah.
a simple like reboot of the Arvolution will normally fix it, and if that won't, I'll just transfer the file over again, and
Hmm.
then it's fine. Like I don't know if it's something I'm doing or I mean I'll talk about it in the full review when I do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean for like if I'm watching YouTube or something, I'm normally just using either the internal LG app because I have everything ran through eARC
Right.
or my PC if I have that on. Um, but normally with the PC because I kind of feed everything through Dolby Atmos on that, and I
Mhm.
have up mixing turned off. So if I'm watching a YouTube video, it's just coming in stereo. And so it's just the front left and right channels. The problem is I'm not directly centered in the room because I only have 2 seats.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd rather watch it up mixed most of the time. So all the stuff is coming out of the center channel. So it actually just, you know, sounds better to me,
Right.
I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's is what it is. But yeah, that's how I consume pretty much everything. I do have a PS5 and a Series X that rarely gets turned on. Um, yeah. So pretty much PC
That's
only these
crazy,
days.
man.
I
I'll
know.
take it then.
Well, I'll send you my Series X. 'Cause dude, I don't know. I think it's been almost a year since I've powered that thing on. Oh no, that's a lie. When I hooked everything back up when I did the revamp, so a few months ago, I turned it
Oh.
on. I had to sit through like a huge ass update. So it's like,
You.
yay! Hey, Kevin is here. And oh, Kevin,
Aw,
you didn't
thanks,
have to do that. I
Kevin.
appreciate it. We appreciate the $5. You didn't have to do. I feel bad. You're rather broke these days. So, dude, the Christmas season
Yeah,
is
Christmas
hard.
time. Wow.
Is so. Oh my gosh, and it just feels like didn't we just do this last year? You know,
Yeah. That darn inflation.
I tell you, man. Yeah, and, what's funny is like we don't like I haven't really bought. Like, I mean, yeah, I buy movies occasionally and video games, but like like some people like they buy everything that comes out, and I'm just like, okay, I got Game Pass, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just play the new Indiana Jones game on that, like on the
Yeah,
PC.
right.
Um, but like, yeah, I normally wait for like deals or whatever. It's like, how do like I don't have that YouTube money yet, you know? I don't have that Elon Osborne money that I can rent an office,
Oh,
you know?
hell no, man. That's definitely not from YouTube.
No, that's for OnlyFans, right?
Correct.
OnlyFans, cool, cool. But
You know,
Kevin, thank
I
you.
subscribe or I make, it's a lesser known website called Only Feet.
Only feet.
Yeah, man.
Oh, and it's just pictures of like cat feet and stuff, right? Like toe
Yeah,
beans,
they're little
like
toe beans.
yeah, yeah. Sell your feet pictures. Well, we appreciate it, Kevin. You did actually ask a question, and we're
Correct.
gonna answer that right now, which was actually the next question up. So you didn't even need to give us the $5 if you didn't want to.
Wow.
But thank you. That will buy half a coffee at Starbucks, or you can make 10 coffees at home for that amount, which is what I do and what I'm drinking
Yay.
right now.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Transformers One?
What is Transformers 1?
It's a movie. It's an animated film. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, 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 that
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
I've not seen
I
it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I have a I have a weird kind of a weird animated thing with stuff like that. Like I'll watch like Pixar movies, but if it actually like I don't know, I'm weird. Like I think it comes from like stemming from my childhood and like my parents arguing during watching any cartoon like on Saturday morning, and I just kind of subconsciously like said I don't like cartoons because of that. And so like yeah, I've not seen it. I've heard great things about the audio on that one in particular.
Mhm.
So it may be worth watching just for that. I kind of like uh I know with like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I kind of like, okay, like let's watch this. And I was pleasantly surprised
Oh, yeah, dude.
by it. Although I did not care for some of the animation choices that made it look like I knew what they were going for, but it kind of made the
Sure.
image a little blurry or like hard to focus on. Because they were trying to make it look like it was right out of a comic book page, which I get, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I'm going cross-eyed here looking at like a anaglyph 3D thing. Like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, would you do you have an interest in seeing that? Iala?
I do actually, 'cause I have seen reviews of it, and even though it's not like a perfect movie, it was actually a lot better than people were expecting, and pretty charming. There's some moments during the movie that it's, very charming what happens, and yeah, the plot was pretty cool. So I would imagine eventually I'll watch it, especially since I have kids. So yeah, it's on the list,
It's on the
as
list.
as they say.
Speaking of on the list, this actually surprises me. Transformers, for Transformers fans,
Ooh.
Bumblebee is getting a belated 3D release. I did read that the other day. I'm like, they're still
Oh,
releasing 3D Blu-rays? This is insane.
yeah, they are. Yep.
Um, I've never experienced 3D in my home, and I've
It's
always
pretty
been
cool.
curious.
When I
Because doesn't the
w
AWOL Vision do 3D?
yeah, when I was, reviewing the 3500 Pro, I specifically got Avatar: Way of Water on 3D because I knew I would be able to do that,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
So is it active? It's active shutter, I take it, right? Like so
Mhm.
the okay. So does it
Yeah,
come with
'cause
glasses, or
the
you have to?
glasses themselves, um, require you to recharge them.
Right. And so they
Yeah,
sync with the AWOL Vision, I take it, and then it's basically a way for the
yeah,
to like it, if those if I can't even talk right now, geez. For those that don't know how active shutter works, it's basically just closing the each side really, really fast. So
right,
your left eye is only seeing what's intended for the left, the right eye is only seeing what's intended for the right.
yeah.
Um, I'd be curious, like AWOL has actually reached out to me. but I don't have a way to facilitate a UST, ultra short throw projector in my setup currently.
Yeah.
Um,
I did actually reach out because they, since I've worked with AWOL already, I have some kind of a little bit of beef with them just kind of behind the scenes. But we've kind of reconciled that
mhm.
because the person I was dealing with at AWOL switched over and focused on Valerian because that's their new,
Hmm.
more intense long throw projector. And because I was moving into this office space, I now have a space that I can actually do a long throw projector if I so choose. So yeah, I reached out to them because it was like, I don't know, early November when the person from Valerian contacted me and was like, "Hey, we want to have you test out our stuff." But I was like, I don't really have time right now. But now that I have this office space, yeah, I really want to try and get their Valerian Vision something something. They ran out of max units, so I'm going to be reviewing their Pro 2 unit, which is, I think, just one step down from their max version.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that, and unfortunately, they still don't sell an acoustically transparent screen yet.
Oh, it's
I
a bummer.
I imagine that's coming down the pike, maybe. But Vivid Storm, they do sell acoustically transparent screens, including the ones that are floor rising, not the ones that you have to mount.
Mm,
So I might reach out to them, because then I could get a floor rising, acoustically transparent screen and have that set up in my new office with the Aperion Theatris speakers behind the screen. So
interesting.
fingers crossed that happens because that would be really cool. Truly immersive cinematic experience.
Immersive. Oh, Kevin's got to dip out. Thanks for stopping by, Kevin. Thank
Boy.
you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Have a great evening, sir. Willie also mentions that the Metallica Through the Never is on 3D Blu-ray and it's great native 3D. I actually have the 3D Blu-ray of that. I bought it when it came out. I actually saw it in IMAX in 3D, and I've talked about it on stream before.
Yeah.
It was so loud in IMAX that my ears rang for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. I should have brought earplugs. It was I don't know what the SPL was, but it was had to be concert as close to concert level as you can get in an
Yeah.
IMAX theater. Like it was, I think that was intentional, but
Right.
Jesus,
It's
it was
like you're
like
at a concert.
I remember that. So right, exactly. I remember. So like it opens up. It's kind of like a movie mixed with like a concert, right? Like
Mm.
there's a roadie, and it's Harry Osborn from the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and he's got to go find some package or whatever. But so it like opens up, and then like it's kind of he's backstage because he's like a roadie, and then it plays like the what is it? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Is it from the Good, Bad, and the Ugly? I can't remember. Um, I can't remember the name. The Ecstasy of Gold. That song. That
Oh.
na. So that's like they play it like at the opening of every concert pretty much before they come out, and that starts with Creeping Death. And when the symbol, it's like the China symbol is just like like that. The highs of that in IMAX instantly my ears were like
Oh
and it
man.
just the whole like for the first song I'm like oh my god, and my ears were so numb afterwards when I went out. It was just like okay, I could hear like like my blood pumping through my ears type of thing. It was
Right.
so loud. um
Oh man.
and strangely what I've always kind of wanted to get to, and it's something I've thought about a lot, is it wasn't necessarily the volume that I've wanted to try to replicate in my home theater. It's
Mm.
the depth of the kick drum.
Oh yeah.
and the way that it sounds, because there's something that like when you go see a live band and it's like Metallica,
Mhm.
that kick drum, man, it just hits you in the chest, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I've finally at a point where I'm kind of there. Like,
Nice.
I have to boost it a little bit because I'm like, okay, either it's one of the I'm not gonna lie, I have played back some of the intros to those songs at 0 on my, like, once I got all the theatrics
Oh,
stuff,
wow.
I couldn't do it for very long,
Yeah.
but it was impressive. Um,
Wow.
um,
Well, speaking of hold on. Uh, I know your receiver can be upgraded to have RO3D, but it does not currently have it on there. Is that correct?
right, right.
Okay.
It's like a
Because I've
2 or $300 upgrade.
oh wow. Because I've heard that music in particular, if it's been mixed, like say if you're watching a DVD audio or like a DVD concert, whatever, that's
Mhm.
been mixed in 5.1, that the aromatic up mixer for concerts is really good.
Interesting.
So, because I know we've already discussed how shitty they can sound if
Yeah.
they're up mixed to the height channels or whatever, but apparently RO3D does a good job. So,
I'll have
just
to
saying.
look into that and see. I mean, Odyssey gave me a multi QX license for $200, and they also sent me one of their $90 microphones. So it's possible that I could
Yeah.
get a um, like a upgraded thing
Right.
to make a
Okay.
video about. They seem to be pretty good about just feeling, oh yeah, this is just I always feel like companies are like, it's much easier for them to just give a license to the software than to
Mhm.
send actual hardware. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh,
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
a digital thing. Like we're not really, you know. Um, so yeah. So I might reach out after I make the multi QX stuff that I want to make
Right.
video wise, and then see, what's what they can do.
Right.
Um it
What
is
can
funny
you
actually,
do?
Willie, Dane DeHaan, who was in Metallica Through the Never, also stars in Valerian, which we are just talking about the projectors. Um, let's see. Oh, there's another question here. This is from a little while ago. Sorry, it's take us about 30 minutes to get through. Um, so Sinyanjo Brian, I'm probably gonna butcher that. I don't care. Um, asks, hello, is there a difference between a mini DSP and an Ashley Protea 24.24M? What would you guys prefer? Well, I think I am
Hmm.
familiar with the Ashley Proteas. If people aren't familiar, they are. Let me see if I can share my. No, I don't. I don't want your happy holiday stuff. Um, so let me share this. I have a friend in Texas that actually has two Ashley Proteas. He has a much bigger system though. Um, and that's the reason he needed like matrixing functionality and everything. So he's
Yeah.
able to, because he's got like two sets of like side surround. So like, for the
Yeah.
seats in the front and the seats in the back.
Right.
And so this allows him to basically send one signal and then assign it to this speaker, to that speaker. He could do whatever he wants. That
Right.
does have a much more DSP functionality for every single speaker.
Right.
However, that comes at a cost of, these are not cheap. Like this is kind of like a range. So this is $1,700 almost.
Wow.
I think I saw some other ones that were like around 2 grand.
Dang.
Um, and also keep in mind, these are all Phoenix connectors. So like
Yep.
there's no like RCA connections here at all. So you're gonna have to make some conversions, and you're gonna have to know what you're doing or pay someone to do that. It's gonna, further the cost of it.
Right.
And that also means that if there is a problem, it's gonna cost more money to fix. You know, there.
Very
I
true.
think my friend actually had a board failure in one of these and had to send it back, and it wasn't cheap to to get
Oof.
replaced. You know, however, there's a lot. I think this is a 24. Look at the 24. It's a 4 in 4 out. I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the biggest thing with this is like, yeah, this does it. I feel like the Ashley Protea stuff is typically meant for bigger systems, higher end. Like I don't want to say higher end, but like systems that need that you know multi-channel functionality or the matrixing on
Right.
top of DSP. It doesn't really make sense to me for like a theater like mine or even a theater like yours, Elon, to get something like this.
Right.
Um, Whereas, like, if we look at like the mini DSP, this is just the Flex HT. I brought it up because um, that's what I found. I think they are coming out with one that I think it's the HTX series. No, wait, what is it? Yes, it's a cable. No, so it's something more like this. This is more traditional, like you kind of wrap your head around.
Yeah,
You can zoom
exactly.
in. Oh yes, very high resolution pictures there. But you have, you know, basically unbalanced connections. So like you
Mhm.
have your um basically RCA inputs, but you do have balanced like XLR inputs, which I'm like, do do any receivers actually have XLR out or not XLR? I'm sorry, quarter
Uh,
inch like instrument
like
cable.
TRS, that's what that is.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could technically get like yeah, I guess that makes sense. So if you get like a balanced cable that converts from XLR to um like a quarter inch,
Yeah,
should still be good because it just has to come out balanced. You can't like buy a balanced cable and be like, "Whoa, it's balanced now." It doesn't work like
it's like,
that.
no, no.
But yeah, so this is more of like a traditional thing.
Right,
Um, it both will basically do similar things,
right.
but you're gonna pay more. Um, to me, in my opinion, with or not even my opinion, with the Ashley Protea, and you're probably not going to use most of the features of it if you have kind of a more like traditional theater and you don't, like
Mhm.
I said, need all that advanced functionality of like the matrixing and routing.
Right.
This will be, you know, basically like get you by. However, I will say if you have a receiver that can support multi QX and it has like uh XT32 or like whatever the top dog is there
Mhm.
for Odyssey, or
Mhm.
Dirac, or even if you're like doing Anthem, doing their Arc stuff, the Arc Genesis,
Right.
you're much better off just sticking with that. Um, because unless you're again like you have 16 seats in your theater or something like that, it's like a little small minute like multiplex basically. I don't see a massive need anymore to have a hardware controlled DSP like you used to, especially with all the
Yeah,
receivers coming out
yeah,
now.
true.
I would rather take that money and go, okay, well, I can spend 16 or $1,700 on an Ashley Protea, or I could spend, $2,500 on a new receiver that has all the bells and whistles that will get me most of the functionality, DSP wise, if you're using multi QX or Dirac, that
Mhm.
like an Ashley Protea would get. Granted, um, the Ashley Protea would probably be a little easier in terms of like customizing things and
Yes.
have more features there. But I know my friend, he's kind of played around with it, but he hires a professional person to come and calibrate his system. He doesn't do it himself. Um,
Whoa.
so that's
There's
another
the money
cost. He,
bags.
yeah, dude, it's it's Taurus. He's been on the show before.
Yeah.
Um, he's got a lot of money invested in his theater. And it's like every time he tells me, like he just bought, those 8 SVS subs that are stacked in the front. So he's got 20 subs in his theater now, or 21 or something. He has an addiction, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like every time he tells me like something broke or something had to be repaired, and it like costs like $2,500, and I'm like, what? That's like that's insane. So not for the faint of heart. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I would much prefer like going to the mini DSP. I mean, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, right? But I feel like especially the mini DSP stuff is much more kind of user friendly than an Ashley Portilla. And Ashley
Yeah.
Portilla is more like, okay,
You gotta know
especially
what
if you
you're doing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you work as like a system integrator and you can get it at a discount or something like that, then yeah, I mean, okay, you know what you're doing, go for it. But
Mhm.
most of the time, I also want to mention that it's like much easier to integrate a mini DSP into a like a traditional system that maybe in an entertainment stand or in a small rack in the back, whereas you do need like rack space for Ashley Portilla. Like it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb if you have it up front.
Mhm.
So I got an itchy ear. But
Oh, no.
like headphones, man. I don't like headphones. They sit on
Which
my ears
one?
weird. No. Um I guess like we've kind of answered all the questions that we have for right now. If anybody has any questions, feel free. We
Have
no,
we?
normally run for about 2 hours, for about an hour and a half in now. I do want to ask Elon a question though, because
Mhm.
we posted or we the last live stream we did was about Black Friday. I was curious, did you pick anything up like for Black Friday? Did you get anything?
I got I got a 4K Blu-ray external drive.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, because I want to start ripping things. And then I also got a TV stand. That's going to go into the new office.
Nice.
Um, yeah, because I know I can mount. I'm. I mean, I'll have to go over this with my landlord, but I am able to mount some things because it is meant to be an office space.
Right, right.
Because I met my office neighbor the other day when I was delivering some boxes to my office, and he showed me his office. He's a chiropractor, and he's got a TV mounted on this wall, and then in the other room he's got another TV mounted, and he's got all kinds of stuff, pictures and whatever hanging on stuff. So pretty sure I'm going to be able to mount all 8 height channels that I would like to eventually mount. But the TV, eh, it's not as necessary.
Yeah.
So that's why I got a TV stand, kind of like yours, where it's height adjustable and stuff, and it's just kind of out of the way.
Right, right, right. So it's
Because
a floor
before,
stand for the TV? Like
yeah, it's a
oh,
floor
okay,
stand.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Because before I had just like a big kind of bench kind of thing.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
just kinda got in the way, so especially if I need to, go behind and
Oh, yeah.
disconnect and reconnect other stuff. So, I'm trying to make it easier in that regard to where I can just I'm gonna purposely try and move things forward a bit from the wall, so that way I can go back behind the components and more easily disconnect them and reconnect stuff if I need to.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, TV stand. I also got the Jordan Peele 3 movie Blu-ray collection because I enjoy Jordan Peele's stuff. Um, I
Why?
also
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
also got Monkey Man on 4K Blu-ray, which is Jordan Peele produced, but Dev Patel directed it. I actually haven't even seen that yet.
Oh,
But I know I'm probably going to enjoy it because it's produced by good people and directed by good people. And I've heard good things too. Um, so yeah, I got a good deal on that. I think that was about it though. It was mainly just, stuff for my office, even though at the time I didn't have the office yet, but I knew I was going to get the office very soon.
yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I got that stuff because lo and behold, the office manifested itself.
Wah.
Yeah. What
That's
about
awesome.
you?
I didn't like I mentioned earlier. I picked up a new all-in-one liquid cooler, which was on a
Right.
Black Friday, slight Black Friday discount. Not as much as I would have liked, but honestly, it's already like one of the cheapest that you can get, and like it just performs so well. Um, so I got that. We got Peacock, like I mentioned. I did pick up
Right.
Star Wars Outlaws on PC for
Oh
around
yeah.
$30. That's been a lot of fun actually. They've really went like a long way in like patching it and like making it better.
Hmm.
I had started playing it just before this last patch that came out, or not it's like title update 1.4, where they kind of changed the stealth combat and stuff in the game to make it kind of
Oh.
more forgiving. Because before, if you were in sections where you like had to be stealthy and you got caught, it was mission over and you had to start over. Um,
Oh.
that's pretty much gone away for like 99% of the game now. So you can kind of go in, my personal way of playing is always like be stealthy until you get caught and then just, you know,
Right.
shit hits the fan, you go guns blazing, do what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been really fun. Man, the audio on that is just insane. So I got like a something in my eye here. Um,
It's your finger.
it's my finger. Now I got like an eyelash or something. But
Sorry. That's the one where there are no lightsabers. It's more like you're a Han Solo type of character, right?
right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the complaints have come from people wanting like a Jedi type game, which are already two, you
There's a
know,
bunch.
there's two main ones now, like the Star Wars, like the Jedi, was it Jedi Fallen Order,
Yeah.
and then Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So
Hmm.
those are very different playing games than what Star Wars Outlaws is.
Yeah.
Um, so like in those games, you're like a Jedi, like you're overpowered, like you become overpowered. You're destroy like the kind of gameplay mechanics of that are very different than this game, where you're just kind of like a person
Hmm.
in this universe, like, and you really feel like that. And what I think that's what I like about it. It was honestly when I first started out, I was like, am I gonna have to change the difficulty? Like, I'm gonna have to play this on easy because I was dying a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you get hit with a couple of blaster like shots from um like a stormtrooper or something, and like you're pretty much dead.
Oh wow.
Whereas like now, like you're like I've kind of played the game for a little while and I've gotten upgrades and stuff. Um, and so like it's much, and I've also like figured out more of the combat and
Mhm.
everything, and it's just much more enjoyable. And it has some of the same like tropes from Ubisoft games where it's kind of like world activities you can do.
Oh
But
yeah.
I've really enjoyed that. I think it got such a bad like initial kind of launch. It had a bunch of issues, but also
Oh
like
yeah.
people were just kind of not. I think that they were expecting like a different type of game, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like there's some games where I'm kind of lenient with and maybe more forgiving when I should be more critical. I don't know. I just kind of enjoy this world. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan,
Mhm.
but I don't watch all the shows, but I have seen all the movies. And I think that this makes me want to go back and watch all the movies again.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the shows, because I just feel like there's
Yeah.
just so much of the stuff in the shows. I'm like, I don't know if
I
I care
don't
about the lore of this
care.
character. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I don't know. But really enjoyed that. So I picked that up. I think I got there was something else I was gonna pick. I can't remember.
Has
This
Star
is what
Wars has Star Wars ever done a first person shooter? They haven't.
um
They should. If they haven't
I
yet.
yeah, I don't
That
know.
would be pretty cool.
I could have swore Republic Commando was first person, but
Oh.
let me see.
Yeah, because they're all like third person action RPG kind of things, right?
Yeah. I know that there was like Battlefront, but those were third.
Yeah.
Um,
Pew pew pew.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look at the so like the 2015 Battlefront, Jedi Knight, Dark Forces from way back in the day. Wow,
Ooh.
Dark
I
Forces 2.
remember I remember loving the Hoth snow speeder level in the Nintendo 64
Oh
Star
my
Wars
god.
game.
Yeah. I remember having such
I
a hard time with that at first.
Yeah, I must have played that over and over and over again.
Ugh. That was
So good.
a Shadow of the Empire. Was it Shadow of the Empire or
Maybe?
something?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I
But
think so.
don't quote me on
Because
that.
you didn't play like Luke or anybody. You didn't play like any main
No.
character. It was
Mm.
what was his name? I still have the action figure from that.
Yeah.
Star Wars
Star Wars ding ding. Bada
Shadow
boop bop.
of the Empire. His name started with a D or something.
Dylan.
No, it was like Dirk Diggler or something. No, Dash Rendar.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So I do remember that specifically. I'm pretty sure that that's yeah. It says it begins shortly before the Battle of Hoth.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, that's man, yeah, but that was third person as well.
It was. Yep.
I don't know if I ever finished that. But what else did I got? I got a couple of. I think I got like can't think. I can't. This is the problem. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get that. And I was like, oh, we should buy this, and then I just forgot. Like
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I don't think it's not like super. Honestly, I don't think I bought any hardware. I didn't really buy any movies.
Yeah.
Like
That's
the last,
usually what I save Black Friday deals for is movies.
yeah,
Because then you
same
get
thing with
4K
me.
movies for like $9 or $12 or whatever, and they're normally 30 or 20.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Although we talked about in our stream, I never really felt like anything was on like an insane discount like I'd never seen before,
I
you
know.
know? And I feel like those days are kind of gone in a
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Like I remember like 12 years ago getting a bunch of like $2 or $3 Blu-rays on Black Friday,
Yeah.
like I specifically remember my niece was born on Black Friday. Or my sister went into labor on Thanksgiving and she was born
Mm.
Black Friday. So we were in the hospital waiting for my niece to be born. And I
Yeah.
was on my phone on Amazon Black Friday shopping. Cause like what
Right.
else are you gonna do? We're all sitting there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like picking up like, $4 Blu-rays, $3 Blu-rays. And I'm like, I don't like yeah. Unless it's a really just crappy movie or transfer, like Terminator 2 on 4K UHD, don't
Mhm.
pay for that ever if you
Yeah.
can help it. As much as
Mhm.
I love the movie, I can't recommend it. Yeah, I don't feel like there's anything like that. There were actually quite a few decent deals on like computer hardware, but I just didn't really like other than
Right.
the liquid cooler. Um, I didn't really see like I didn't really have any reason to buy any of the stuff. I mean, I didn't need like another hard drive or something. I didn't really need
Right.
any of that. It's like okay,
You should have
um,
gotten that 32 terabyte hard drive so you could put it
hey,
in the Arvolution.
$472. Oh, I think I did pick up an extra memory card for the Osmo Pocket. Not that I need it,
Ah.
but I think I got one for like it was the same one that I have, so it's like a no, it's a 512, but I
Oh,
got
yeah.
it for like $13.
Dang.
So yeah, and the thing is, I've never ran out of space on the 256.
Right.
So yeah, I think I was just like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. Like this stuff doesn't really go bad, so it's always nice to have like a backup. So I'll
Yeah, no
probably
kidding.
I'll put the 512 in there and use the 256 as a backup. Um,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
just
'Cause that's what I have is 256.
yeah,
And again, I've never run out of
yeah,
space.
yeah. So but yeah, it was just kind of a lackluster year for like for some sales. I guess, it does always depend like what you're looking for anyway, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you looking for a TV? Okay. Are you looking for a sound bar or something? You may be able to get some deals. There were quite a few like Steam did have their like autumn sale going on, and there was a lot of stuff on a pretty steep discount. Um I know like I almost bought Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which
Yeah.
came out I think in February or March. It was a complete and utter failure. Um, it launched with a deluxe edition at $120,
Oh,
and this same
wow.
deluxe edition was on a autumn sale for $2.99. That's how poor the game did, and
Woo.
I've kind of been curious if there have been any like increases in player count on Steam, and for $3, you would think that people are like, "Oh, okay." Most people are like, "I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play it." I did try the like I did try it like a few months ago, because again it was on sale for like $12.99,
Mhm.
um, and I bought it on Steam and I played it for 30 minutes and like uninstalled it and refunded it. Because Steam has a thing where like if you play it for less than 2 hours and it's before like a 2 week period, you can
Yeah.
request a refund. You're pretty much going to get a refund.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, it wasn't worth $13. And I was
Nope.
like, you know what? It's not really worth three. I don't want to, I don't want to, like rag on the people that actually worked hard on the game, because I'm sure that,
Oh, sure.
the actual like artists, like, and everything, yeah, it's like put their heart and soul into it. But like the actual like publisher and the people in charge just did not, uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they're going to take the game offline at some point, because it's online only, but they did announce an offline mode. So
Right.
if you do buy it, when it does go offline, you could still play it. You just can't play it with anybody. Like you can't play it with other people anymore. 'Cause that's what's the whole thing. You can play it like co-op.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was dude, the dialogue was so bad in that game. I was like, hey, is this did they what is this? This is terrible. But yeah, there's quite a few games that I was like, okay, but I'm like, I just picked up Star Wars Outlaws. I can only go through so many games, and my backlog is already massive. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I used to have a problem. I used to have a problem buying games that were on sale, and I'm like, they just sit there, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I practiced self control and did not purchase anything else pretty much other than those few things. And
Right.
um yeah.
Do you know why I got the 3 movie Jordan Peele bundle?
Why? So what is it? So it's Get Out, Nope, and
Us.
Us. I've not seen Us. I've seen the other two. I guess
Yeah, same, same. We haven't seen Us yet, and
so
we're
that's why you got it?
yeah.
There you go.
But it's also because all 3 of those, I looked it up on my handy Just Watch app, and all 3 of those are not streaming anywhere. So I was like,
Wow. I
might
will
as well buy it."
I mean, you have to let me know. Like, I need to watch Us as well. I will say I like that actress, because wasn't she in the it's what's her I can't remember her name. It's like Lupita or something,
Yeah,
right?
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, she was in the A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
never
which
saw that.
it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
better to me than the second A Quiet Place. I did not enjoy the second A Quiet Place. Part two or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Um, so I will say I enjoyed Get Out much more than I enjoyed Nope. Um,
Yeah, I enjoyed Nope. It was a cool concept and, yeah, just the I enjoyed Nope more just after watching the making of.
mhm. Yeah.
Then I appreciated it more, especially with the fact that it was, filmed in with IMAX cameras, and they also did, you know, filming during the day, but made it look like it was at night because they did some really cool
Like
camera
day for night.
trickery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that aspect was really cool. So that's why I really like Nope. So I can see why a lot of people it might not be for them, but being a film nerd like I
Yeah.
am, that's why I like
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I enjoyed the premise of the movie. I enjoyed the pacing of it. There were some
Mhm.
parts where I'm like, "Meh," but the I think what really made me like Get Out more, uh, was the I couldn't understand what his mumbling character was saying in Nope most of the time. Like
Right.
he spoke under his breath so much that I'm like, I like at least bring the dialogue up a little bit so I can try to. There's
Yeah.
a lot of like that kind of mumbling, mumbling, mumbling moments that we've seen in so many movies these days.
Right.
But yeah, I need to watch Us because
Yeah.
I feel like initially when Jordan Peele was kind of come up and coming, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
I was just like, the guy from Key and Peele is making horror movies, like,
Right.
huh?
Yeah.
And I would just kind of like instantly like wrote it off, like shut it to the side. I'm like, no, no. It's kind of
Mhm.
like honestly, like A Quiet Place. I'm like, so John Krasinski directed this movie. Like, what?
Right.
And he stars in it. Like, how cocky can you be? It's like your first directorial movie, and you're like gonna be in it. But then we watched it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, that had some. Okay, he had some
Oh, yeah.
promising. You know, I
Right.
think he's a jerk in real life, but I think I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I've never met him, so I don't know. But he could be. I mean, he's married to Emily Blunt. So when you marry someone like that, look at
Yeah.
me being judgmental. I'm like, see, in Hollywood, no, I'm sure they're fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, it's always weird when I also didn't realize that like Chelsea Peretti is married to Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yep.
like,
Yeah, now that you're going through
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Nine-Nine.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're on season 4 now. We've finished
Whoa.
yeah, we've watched it's been kind of like our escape from the
Oh, yeah,
world
dude.
and the Christmas craziness. Um,
Nice. It is such a good show, though,
it
from
is.
start to finish. I
It
mean,
like basically what I like about it is other than Peacock having ads,
boo.
yeah, is they're like 20-minute episodes basically,
Yeah.
30 minutes with the ads.
Mhm.
But it's like we can watch like 3 or 4 in a sitting and it doesn't feel like we've spent 3 hours watching a show, whereas like a lot
Right.
of the shows we've been watching recently have been like 45 minutes, basically
Yeah.
hour long without commercials.
Right.
Or I mean 45 minutes but an hour with commercials.
Right.
So it's been nice to also just have something kind of funny,
Mhm.
It's kind of how we watch Modern Family too. We just kind of were able to binge that because it's just somebody everybody's like, "Oh, have you seen this show? It's really good." I'm like, "Oh, it's just such a heavy show." It's like I can't.
Right.
It's so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Um, because we just got
Really.
we had finished watching A Friend of the Family, which is a very like depressing. That's a fucked up show, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's oh my god. But we finished watching that. We're like, we need something else, and it was either
Right.
we have two shows on the list. Neither of us have seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Schitt's Creek,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
Okay.
we're like, well, let's start with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mhm.
Let's do that because there's more Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like there's like 8 seasons or something like that.
Right.
And then we'll do Schitt's Creek after because I feel like I know like I love Eugene
Yeah. Yeah.
Levy, whatever. His son is hilarious, Dan Levy.
Mhm. Right.
Um, which people I love. Like, that's his son in real life. What? I'm like, just look at the eyebrows. You could
I know,
see it.
right?
You could see it. But yeah, so we're going through that, and yeah, I'm gonna sit and watch Demolition Man probably alone. But I don't know. My wife said she hadn't seen it in a long time, so we might watch it together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, we did actually. We paid for Netflix for a month to watch Axel F,
Oh.
the Beverly Hills Cop. Um, and I actually really enjoyed it. Like I thought
Oh.
it was a good kind of fourth entry. it didn't fall prey to like the Dumb and Dumber 2
Oh,
crap where it
good.
was like, okay, this is 30, 40 years later almost, and like it's just they're hamming it up. It was like
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy just stepped right back into those shoes, man, and it was cool. Kind of, it really felt like they just skipped over Beverly Hills Cop 3, which a lot of people didn't like, and just
Mhm.
tried to make it more like a a, a combination and a sequel to Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2.
Ah,
And they even
right.
used a lot of the same music from Beverly Hills Cop 2, which
Oh,
is
hmm.
one of my favorite scores from that
Yeah,
that kind of era.
right.
But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Hey, Forrest Gump.
Well, I mean, I guess we could probably just wrap it up. We have
Yeah,
no more
we
questions
wrap
for
it
you.
up. We're hitting the 2 hour mark.
Just a
Anything you
hoot.
want to say, send off? Like I know we said we were going to mention it multiple times throughout, but we didn't.
Yeah,
So we'll mention it again that
yeah,
we're going to take a hiatus after this. Not sure for exactly how long. It might come back rebranded. We don't know. We don't know.
yeah,
Kind of seeing what's going on. Um, how we both feel. Um,
yeah,
might do it once a month. I don't know. We'll kind of play it by ear. I think. I think what happened is we kind of dove in head first,
yeah.
and just like Icarus flew a little too close to the sun, stepped back, got our wings a little burnt
Mhm.
there. But yeah, we'll figure it out, and we're not going anywhere. That's for sure. I think we're still going to be uploading content to both of our channels.
Correct.
Um, but I think for the time being, hiatus time for the live stream. Take a vacation from ourselves.
Yeah,
It's like, what about Bob?
right.
Baby
Baby
steps out of
steps.
baby steps out of the office. I can never eat corn on the cob the same way after watching that movie. Just mm,
Mm,
such a great movie.
yeah, it is.
Um,
All
but
right, folks. Well,
yep,
I mean, all I have is, happy holidays. Hope your shopping is going well, and spend time with your family.
yeah. Eat some food, gain some weight. That's what the holidays are all about.
Yeah.
Um, you know, make some make some dough, like some actual dough, like make
Oh
some
yeah.
real dough, like not
Bread.
bread or crust for pie is always good.
Oh
I made this banana bread I'm kidding, I didn't make any banana bread. But now I would like to make some. I haven't made banana bread in a while. Um, I'm a real baker. But yeah, I will hopefully have a video out before Christmas. A couple videos, hopefully. I just realized it's December 12th. Um, yeah, lots going on, kind of leading up to Christmas, but I would love to be like, it's a Christmas miracle. The mini DSP videos are out, like that's kind of where my
yeah. Yay.
brain is. And I want to try to do that because I'm like, yeah, I just want to get those done. And yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. But yeah, on that note, I thank you guys. All of you guys stuck around. Hopefully you're enjoying the festivities of you and your family. Or if you're not, you can use this as a way of being like, I gotta go watch this thing on YouTube. It's very important.
Yay.
Very important. But anyway, yeah,
All right.
we will catch you guys later and take care.
Boy.
Boy.